So we're going to start on top of the page on last mission of the Perek on page 028b, Chavches Omid Beis, Mishnah. So the Mishnah talks about the behavior on Chol HaMoed as far as mourning goes. Because of Chol HaMoed, we have some restrictions. We can't really go all out mourning. It's not the respect for the Chol HaMoed. So there are certain restrictions and there are certain limitations, as we will see. Zog the Mishnah that Noshim b'moyed ma'anois avol loy metapchis. Ma'anois means they raise their voice. Metapchis means they clap. We'll see they raise the voice on their own, sort of a sobbing, crying. And there's another way in which it is like a combined effort. One says and the other one cries with her. It's a greater form. Let's look at the Mishnah. So during the Moed, Noshim b'Moed, on Chol HaMoed, if they are doing mourning, is me'anois avolei metapchis. They will raise their voices, but they won't clap their hands. That's not permitted on Chol HaMoed. Rabbi Yishmael disagrees. He says, Hasmuches lamito, those who are next to the bed that they're carrying next to the coffin, metapchis can even clap also. It's a bigger form of mourning, but if you're next to the bed, you can do metapchis as well. What about a lesser degree of mourning, which is on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim? Chol HaMoed is considered more Yom Tov, more sacred than Rosh Chodesh, than Chanukah, than Purim. Chanukah and Purim are from the rabbis, and Rosh Chodesh is also not as strict as Chol HaMoed. So over there, ma'anis u'metapchis. Over there, you can also do metapchis. You can clap your hands. That will be allowed. Okay. Bazeh v'zeh. But in either case, whether it is Chol HaMoed or it is Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim, loy mekoinenois. Koinenois is the mourning, which people, as the Mishnah will explain in a minute, one leads and everybody follows with the crying of one of them, as the Gemara will say. So the mekoinenois, that's too much of a sadness. We don't do that even on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, and Purim. This is all while the mace is leading him to the grave. But Nikbar HaMace, once the mace has been buried, then Loy Ma'anos V'Loy Metapchis. So then even under Chanukah, Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, and Purim, which are allowed to be Ma'anos, but after the burial of the dead, then Loy Ma'anos, you can't raise the voices, V'Loy Metapchis. And for sure, Mekoinus, you're not allowed to even do before, he said, V'Loy Mekoinus. But we're saying, even though we allowed Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, and Purim, Ma'anis and Metapchis, but after the dead was buried, then you can't do not Ma'anis, not voice, and not clapping. So the Mishnah clarifies, Ezehu Inui, which is called, what is Inui? Raise the voice. That is Shekulon Oinois Ke'echos, that they're all say together, they're all raise their voice together. Kino, what is Kino? Sha'achas Medaberes, one speaks, Vekulon Oinois Achareo, one speaks and they all respond after her. They raise the voice after one. It's a greater form of mourning. Where do we see this distinction? Shenemar. The pasuk says, "V'lameidna b'nei seichem nehi." Pasuk in Yirmiyah. Teach your daughters to mourn. The isha re'usa kina, and a woman to her friend kina. So you see, kina is an association where two people together. Isha re'usa. The Mishnah concludes now the end of the parak of Moed Katan, which talked about mourning, concludes with something positive. Avol la'osid lavoi hu omer. But for the future to come, the pasuk says in Yeshayahu Chavhei, Bila hamoves lo netzach. Death has been swallowed for eternity. There'll be no more death. Because people will live forever. And God Elikim will erase tears from all faces, etc. That's the end of the Mishnah of Moed Katan, the last end of the Mishnah. Now we'll do the Gemara. Frag the Gemara, Maya Moron. What is it that they say? What is the when they say? What is the contents of what they say? So they say, "Vai le azola." Woe to the one who left, who's gone, and he will not come back. Another thing is, Vai lachavila. Woe to the package. Chavla. I'm not sure. I mean, I think Chavila is tied to, they're carrying him as a bag, the woe to the, but Rashi seems to say Chavla, the wounded, the one who got hurt, but not sure exactly the taich of the Chavla here. But that's the meaning of the morning. The Gemara is going to bring down now various different words that were said at the eulogies, or that they said the women used to say. It said Maya Mora. So the Gemara is going to bring down various different they say for different people what they would say. Amar Rava says Rava, Nashid Shachantsiv. Apparently the women would say, the mourners, they would say some of the mourning. What would they say? The women of Shechantsiv, they were wise women. Amar Hochi. They would say, as we said before, Vai la azola, woe to the one who left, and why la chavila. So, like over here, the taich chavila is a mace that is being carried like a bag, like a bucket. So that's the chavila. I'm not sure if that's what Rashi means, but chavla, Rashi translate chavla. It's like loshen achovel b'chaveri. I'm not sure. But Omar Rava, further Rava said, no shid shechansiv amorim. The woman of shechansiv would say, good. Good means fell out. Groma.
What does good mean?
Bone. A groma is a bone. Good fell out. Huh?
What does good mean?
Good means falls out. Groma, a bone. Mikocha, from the cheek. Meaning a person fell out. Rashi says, good groma mikocha, naflo halechaim, that the chayayim, that the cheek fell out. V'namti mayi la'antichi, and the water went upstream. Exactly what it means, Rashi says, Kloimar hadri mayi lemafreya klabemayla. The water went backwards against the flow coming from the up to the bottom. They're going backwards, basically. The cheeks have fallen down, and he's gone up, basically. Some have fallen down below, something to that effect. Rava says further, Nishid Shechansiv Amoron, the women Shechansiv said, Atoif v'kosi tura. They would say, wrap around and cover yourself mountains. Because somebody great, Turi Turi. Why? The Barromi Ubar Rabrevihu. This person is a raised and a son of the great. He's a son of, meaning he was a very important person. So cover yourself up for him out of respect. He's the son of a great and an exalted man. So, meaning maybe in the presence of somebody honors. So the mountains are somebody honorable is coming, passed away. The they would say, this woman, Shaivel Itzla the Milsa, that this is as beautiful. The Shaivel is the stone that they cover the. I think that's what the Shaivel is. The stone that they close up the grave with, the on top of the grave. It's called the Goylel. It's Itzla de Milsa. It's like a garment of silk, a silk garment. It's beautiful. As Rashi says, Shaivel Itzla Milsa Kloimer, Yofe Misa Kemalbu Shel Milsa. It is beautiful, like a garment of silk. Lebarchoirim Dishlimo Zavda. To somebody who is free, who doesn't have food. I mean, he's poor. So now I think he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Once he's dead, he doesn't have to worry about that's what he would say. They didn't have money to pay for his burial, so they wanted to get people to pay. So what they would say is, oh, for him it's good. It's like a beautiful garment for him because he didn't have any money. He was poor. Shlimu zavde, meaning his food. He didn't have food. And that's why people would have rachmanis. Maybe they would pay for the burial. Rava says, the Shiddish Shechantsiv Amoron, they would say, Rohit, the Nofel Amabro, the Yazuf to Yosef. This is also for somebody who doesn't have to pay for his burial, which means he was running and he fell on the bridge, meaning all life he was running. Roit means running. The Nofil Amabra means he was fell on the bridge, meaning he was running a whole life trying to make money. But he fell on the bridge, meaning when he came to pass to Olam Haba on the bridge, he has no money. The Yizuf to Yosef means he has to borrow money to pay. The Yizuf to Yosef. These are all kinds of different mezid. Now, I'm not sure where this Rashi goes. We'll have to see later. I'm not sure how to where it goes. Vama Rava says Rava further, Nishid Shechantsiv Amoron. What they would say, the women of Shechantsiv would say, Achonon Tagri Azbazki Mivdichu. That if it was a poor such a person who's so poor, Achono Tagri means our brothers, the merchants. Azbazki Midbeku. Check out check yourself out. Basically, that you shouldn't end up end up like this guy over here. Achona Tagre, they would say, my brother merchants as bazki mibatko. That you check yourself, you may end up like this, but I'm wondering what is azbazgi. Rashi says means hine. Hine means his nest where he is. Check your nest, see what that you don't end up like that. I don't know. So did they say it by the did they say it by who did they say it? Maybe by the person that we said before. That same person who didn't have. V'omar Rava, further Rava said, Noshiv de shechansi v'moron. They say, Moiso ki moiso umarin chibulaya, which means he died. Moiso ki moiso, he died like everybody. But the bad that he experienced, the pain, were very, very troubling, were very hard for him. So he says, Moiso Kimoiso was like everybody. He died like everybody else. Everybody dies. He died also. However, Umar in Chibulay, but the pains were very bad, for the person, while they were the same for everybody, but his pains were bad. Marin Chibulay. Marin Chibulay. Not sure what it means now here. Rashi or Yisurin, this belongs over here. So basically, he says, Moiso ki moiso, death like everybody else dies, he also died. But Umarin Chibulayu, but his wounds, his pains were bad. Umarin Chibulayu. I'm not sure what it means. So Yisurin Hein Baboyis. I probably have this quote wrong over here. Let me just see. I'll look it up a little bit later. We'll see. I also don't know where the other Rashi goes. We'll see in a minute. Look in the Gemara. Tanya, Hoyer Meir Eimer. We learned in Abraisa that Meir would say, it says in Kahel Zayin, Toiv lo leches el beis ovel. It's better to go to the house of a mourner than going to the house of a party, until the pasuk finishes there. V'achai yitain elibay. And the living should put to heart. What should the living put to heart? The vorim shel misa. The things that of death that's taking place in the house of the mourner, the person should put to heart that he should see that the honor and the treatment that a person gets after their death is really the way you treat other people. So that means that the chayit naliboy, to those items of death, that's the way you would also get. And which means like this, the yaspet, if you eulogize the other one, yaspedune, then they will eulogize you. The yakber, if you bury the other one, yakburune, they'll bury you. The yatain, the one that loaded you carried the mace, yit anune, they'll carry you. The yidal, to raise, what does it mean? Yidlune, they'll raise you to. What is it talking about, Dr. Rashi? Yidlune kloimer. Magbin behesped, you raised your voice to eulogize. Lemisha magbia koyle lehesped acherim, to one who raises his voice to eulogize other. Other people say it goes the other way around. The loy yadil yadlune. If you don't raise your voice, yadlune, which means if you don't not raise your voice, if you don't hold yourself big, if you're not arrogant, yodel means to raise. Before we're talking about raising the voice, here we're talking about just being arrogant. Yodel, yadluni, other people will make you great. The Ksiv, the Pasuk says, Kitoiv Omer Loch Alei Heino V'Goymer. The Pasuk, it says, Koim Gedolim Al Tamid, don't stay in the place of the big. Kitoiv Omer Loch Alei Heino Mehashpilcho Lifnei Nodiv Asher Oinecho. In other words, it's better not to stand, not to hold yourself big, because then if you hold yourself small, they might tell you, they can tell you go up. If you hold yourself humble, then they might elevate you. But that's better that you're going to hold yourself high, and then they might lower you. In other words, he's telling you, keep yourself humble, and then they might elevate you, rather than hold yourself high, and then they may put you down. That's what he brings. So he says, that's what he said, Lo yadal yadlune. If you don't hold yourself high, they might raise you and elevate you. So the Gemara Tana Rabbana. We learned in Abraisa. Yishemeisu, one of Rabbi Shmuel. When the sons of Rabbi Shmuel died, Nichnesu Dalet Zkenim Lenachmai. There were 4 elders that came in to comfort Rabbi Shmuel. Who were the 4 elders? It was Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Yossi Aglili, Rabbi Lazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva. They all came to the house of Rabbi Shmuel to comfort him after his sons died. Amar lahem Rabbi Tarfon. So Rabbi Tarfon said to them, Du'u shechochem godlu. You should know that this Rabbi Shmuel is a great sage. Uboki ba'agodis, he's an expert in the agodis, in expounding. And therefore, al yikones echad mikem l'tevdivrei chaveri. Don't interrupt, don't enter into the other one's words. Give everybody the chance. Because he's a Chacham Gadol, he'll know, what to say, what to do. Don't interrupt. Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva, I'll be the last one. The story of the sons of Rabbi Shmuel is the story with his wife, that they both died, is a story in the Medrash. And she says we have to give back the gift what the Eibishter had given us. So Rabbi Akiva says, Vani Achre, I'll be the last one. Then when Pascha Rabbi Shmuel Omar, so Rabbi Shmuel started, he was the mourner, and the locha is that the mourner is the one that opens up. It says, Rabu ave noisov, takfu avelov, that because of the many sins, he had a lot of mournings, basically. So due to his sins, he has lots of mourning. He troubled his teachers, Shaboim Lenachmai, they're coming to comfort him. Once and twice. Not sure, maybe for the 2 sons, I thought it happened. Maybe it's not that story. It happened at the same time. But over here, it says, because of the many sins, Tokva Avinoso. He felt that that was yeah. Then the Rabbi Tarfon. So then the Rabbi Tarfon, he opens up after him and he says, V'amar. He says, "V'achechem kol beis Yisrael yivkas asreifa." When the two sons of Nadav and Avihu, this week's parsha, we're learning in Achari Mois, Shnei bnei Aaron. So it says before in the parsha Shmini, "V'achechem kol beis Yisrael yivkas asreifa," that they should not conduct in the levels of mourning, but all your brothers will cry for the fire that Hashem, they burnt by fire, the two sons, they died when the Korvos of Bnei Hashem. So he says, but this is a oratory. They only did one mitzvah, the Ksiv, the Pasuk says, they brought the dam, that was the mitzvah they did as Kohanim. At that point over there, they brought the blood to Aaron. Kach, and still the Torah says that all the Jewish people, the whole house of Israel will cry for them. Bonov shel Rabbi Yishmael, alachas kam v'kamo. So how about the sons of Rabbi Yishmael, who did many sins? So for sure that they will deserve that everybody should cry for them, because even them, I mean, on one hand, Nadav Avihu were greater than Moshe and Aaron, but I guess the mitzvah achas is talking about what they've done at that point, right before they died. So the Rabbi Shmuel did, sons of Rabbi Shmuel did many mitzvahs, for certainly they deserve that all of them should mourn them. And then Rabbi Yisrael raised his voice and he said, it says in Malachim Aleph, Perek Yudaled, it says, V'sovduloi kol Yisrael v'kovra Eisoi. So this is a pasuk by, it says by Aviyah, the son of Yerovam. When he died, they gave him a lot of honor. That the Sovduloi kol Yisrael v'kovra Eisoi, that they all of the Jewish people eulogized him and they buried him. So, so this is also a foratory. Even Aviyah, the son of Yerovam, he only did one good item. The Ksibei Pasuk says, Ya'an nimtzon by dover toiv. So it says just one thing. Kach. So it says that all of the people, Sovdulei kol Yisrael. So Banov shel Rabbi Shmuel, alachas kam v'kam. Sure, we have to eulogize them. That was what Rabbi Yisrael Lili said. For the Gemara, my dover toiv, what was the good thing that he did? So Rabbi Zayd of Rabbi Chaim bar Papa, there's a disagreement between Rabbi Zayd and Rabbi Chaim bar Papa. Chad Omar shebitel mishpartoi v'holach l'regel, v'holu l'regel. One says that this Aviha, he nullified the mishmeres, that's the guard that Yerovam set up. People should not go l'regel. Yerovam ben Nevat didn't want the people to go up to Yerushalayim. He was afraid for his kingdom. So he put down the guard and he himself went up to the Beis Hamikdash. He went up for the Yom Tov. That's called one thing that he did, that Aviyah did, that is against his father. The Chadomar shebitel pardesois shahishiv Yerovim aviv ala drachim shleyalu Yisrael l'regel. That he took away the pardesois. Those are also kind of the guards that his father put on the roads, they shouldn't go l'regel. The first one is that he went up by regel by himself. The second one is that they took away the pardesos that his father set up. Okay. So then, next one in turn was Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Then Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah of Omar. So Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, he raised his voice and he said, "B'sholim Tomus, that you will die in peace. U'b'misrefes aveisecha hamelachim harishonim asher hoy lefanecha came yisrefu lach." This is by the king Tzidkiyahu. The pasuk says there, "B'sholim Tomus, you'll die in peace." U'b'misrefes aveisecha, in the place where your aveisecha were burnt, meaning where they were buried. The earlier kings, that is the place they will burn you, I mean you'll be buried. They will eulogize you as the master, as the Odin. You know what? Let me just double check for a second. What does it mean? I think Mr. Vesavesecho, I mean, I saw this pasuk all the time. What it means? 1 second. Let's see what it means. Just to make sure. Rashi says over there that they used to burn their beds and everything over, not them. What they burnt was the other things, but he says they'll bury you as well. So this was said to King Tzidkiyahu. King Tzidkiyahu also, about Dvarim Kal V'Chomer. So this is a oratory. Ma Tzidkiyahu Melech Yehuda. Even Tzidkiyahu, the king of Yehuda, Shelo Yosa Elo Mitzvah Achas. He only did one mitzvah. Shehelo Yirmiyahu Min Atit. That he brought him out from the tit, from the mortar. Kach, he got such an honor. Bonov Shel Rabbi Yishmael Alachas Kama V'Kama. So the sons of Rabbi Yishmael, how much more so that they deserve that. Then finally, Neno Rabbi Akiva Omar. Rabbi Akiva says the pasuk in Zechariah Yud Beis, Vayom Ahu Yigdal HaMispad B'Yerushalayim. The eulogy in Yerushalayim will be so big, Ki Mispad Hadrimoin Bebikas Megiddo, like the eulogy of Hadrimoin in the valley of Megiddo. What does it mean? Rabbi Yosef says, Rabbi Yosef Ilmolei Targumai, had it not been for the translation of the hiker of this pasuk, Lava Yedaina Maika Omar, I wouldn't know what is the pasuk saying here. So he says, by Idna Hahu, in that time, Bisman Hahu, Yizgei Mispido, it'll be a great eulogy in Yerushalayim, just like the eulogy of Achav ben Amri, who was killed by Hadrimoin bar Tevarimoin, and as the eulogy of Yeshaya bar Omoin, that was killed by Parei Chagira, by Parei the limping, in the valley of Megiddo. He teaches over there in the Targum that in that day there will be such a great eulogy in Yerushalayim, just like the eulogy of Achav bar Omri that was killed by Adrim and Batavarian, and the eulogy of Yeshua bar Ami that was killed by Para, the limping one, and the biggest of Megiddo. So this means by Yom Ahu Yigdal HaMispad B'Yerushalayim, Mispad Hadrimim Bebikas Megiddo. So there's one was killed, Acha bar Amri in Hadrimen, and that was killed by Hadrimen, and Yeshio that was killed by the biggest Megiddo. There's a whole bunch of different things hinted in the verse, very simply. But again, so this is a foretory. Uma Achav Melech Yisrael. So Achav, the king of Israel, only did one thing. He gets like the big mispah, Ksiv, by Melech Hoya Maimed b'Merkava Noicha Charom. He was by the that he was staying upright even after he was hit by the war. They shouldn't see him fall and run away. So he got the reason that Achav, king of Israel, who did a lot of bad things, but the reason he was eulogized, that the pasuk says the great eulogy of Achav bar Omri was why? Because he stood up so that the Yidden don't run away. Because that the Dover Tov Diksiva Melecha Yomayim Merkov Necharom. Kach, and still he was such a eulogy. One of Rabbi Shmuel, Alachas Kamo V'Kamo. Okay, so this is all the different. They were coming to tell him that we see in the pasuk the great eulogies that were made for these different people, these different kings who didn't really deserve it. They were really doing bad things, and yet they eulogized. So we're saying the sons of Rabbi Shmuel, who are so great, for sure they deserve the greatest level of eulogies. Amalei Rava Rabbi Bar Mori. So Rava says to Rabbi Bar Mori, he asked him a question. The Mori talked about, brought out Tzidkiyahu. Says Ksibe Tzidkiyahu. By Tzidkiyahu it says B'Sholem Tomus, you'll die in peace. But it's also Ksiv, the pasuk says V'Seini Tzidkiyahu even, that the king Tzidkiyahu was the king of the Yidden, and they blinded him. So how could it be that it was in peace? Seems to be a conflict. Amalei Hacham Rabbi Yochanan. So says Rabbi Yochanan. Shemeis Nebuchadnezzar b'Yomov. That the good thing, what does it mean b'Sholem Tomus, that Nebuchadnezzar died during the lifetime of Tzidkiyahu. Yeah, he blinded, but he died first. That's considered to be b'Sholem Tomus. Amalei Rava the Rabbi Bar Mori. Further, Rava says the Rabbi Mori. See, baby Yoshio. By Yeshua said, L'chein hine L'chein hine yosifcha l'vesecha v'nesafta l'kvureisecha akavreisecha b'shalom. I am going to gather you into your fathers, meaning you'll die, and you are going to peacefully be gathered into their burial. So it means that Yeshua will have a normal death, a normal burial. But Ksiv, in the Yomim base Perek Lamed Hey, it says, "Vayoru hayorim lamelech Yeshua," that those shooters, they shot the king Yeshua with the spears. Rabbi Yehuda Marav, and Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Rav, "She'asuhu kekvara." They made him like a sift. They so much. How does that fit with what the pasuk says that he's going to come to burial in peace? This is, so says Rabbi Yochanan, that what it means that he's going to be b'sholem, that during his lifetime, Yeshio, the Beis Hamikdash was not destroyed. Further, the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan, Ein menachnim rashoim loymar dover ad sheyiftach ha'ovel. The comforters can't say anything until the oval begins. Shenemar, because it says, Achari kain posach Eve espio. Afterwards, Eve opened up his mouth. V'hodor, and only afterwards, vayan elifis atimoni. That was his friend. So first Eve spoke, and then the people that came to comfort him. Amar Rababo, says Rababo, Minayin La'avel shemesav berosh. Where do we know that the mourner sits on the head? Shenemar Evcher darkom ve'oeshev rosh. I will choose their path, and I'll sit in the town ve'eshkin kemelech b'gedud, and I will rest like a king in the army, in his battalion, kasher avelim yenachem, as one comforts mourners, which means sitting on the top. And Eshev Rosh is the way to comfort. So the Gemara says, Yenachem achrinim ashma. Yenachem means to comfort others, not that the one that is being comforted sits on the top. Amar Rav Nachman, Yinochem Ksiv. Will be comforted is written, even though the Kudas is Yenachem will comfort others, but will be comforted. So that means we learn from that pasuk also. Mazutra Amar Mahocha. The word says from this pasuk, V'sor marzach seruchim. That marzach nasesar. V'sor, sor means to remove, but he learns it like v'sor, like an officer, sar with a sin. V'sar marzach seruchim. One who, I guess, is in pain of the seruchim. I mean, I didn't get a chance to look it over. You can tell so well today. Let's see.
Not easy stuff.
Huh?
It's not easy.
There's a lot of, yeah. Let me just see here. I didn't get a chance to really learn. Also, Besor mirezach seruchim. That mirezach nasesar l'sruchim. Besor, asar l'sruchim means an officer, means he sits at the head of the, I guess it sits at the head of the table. Becomes asar l'sruchim. Amar Rabbi Choma bar Chanina said, "Menayin lechoson shemeisa berosh." Where do we know a choson sits at the head? Shenemar kechoson yikayin peir. Like a choson, he serves beauty. His beauty. Ma'koyin beroshus, a koyin goes at the top of choson berosh. What if a koyin gufa menole? Where do we know that a koyin sits at the top? The Talmud of Rabbi Shmuel. They learned in the Shir Rabbi Shmuel. Pasuk says, "V'kidashtoi," sanctify him. L'chol davar sheb'kedusha, make him holy. Everything that's kedusha, the Kohen comes first. L'ftoyach rishon, he opens up first. He gets first aliyah. L'varach rishon, he's the first one that gets the honor to bench. The little money yar for rishon, he takes the first portion, good portion for himself. Amar Rabbi Chanina says, Rabbi Chanina, koshi yitzias neshama naguf. As you see, I also don't have the Rashis over here, which is another difficulty for me, because I got to type the Gemara without the Rashi. So he says that it's difficult, the exit of the soul from the body. Turn the page. Kitzipuri b'fi aveshet. Tzipuri b'fi aveshet. That is talking about Tzipuri b'fi aveshet. That's the harness that they harness that lead the plow. So you have a string that has a knot, and it goes out with difficulty from the Torah, meaning from the what it pulls over there doesn't go out easily. It's just trying to describe something which is difficult, that the going out, the neshama, is like going out from the body. It's like squeezing through. It's difficult for the soul to go out from the body, like the kesher. a string that has a knot. So when it's knotted, you can't go out. It goes out with difficulty from the Torah, and that's the harness over there. Shouldn't slip out. The knot holds it back. So the neshama, the body holds back the neshama, doesn't allow for the neshama to go. Rabbi Yochanan Omar kepetiri b'fiveshet. Petiri, in the end of a veshet, which is on the end of the string, they also make a knot to hold two boats together. I guess it's a bigger knot. It's stronger. It doesn't want to let go. The two boats are together. Now they're trying to separate, make them hard to separate. It's very hard for the soul to separate from the body. B'omar Rabbi Levi bar Chisa, says Rabbi Levi bar Chisa, Hanifta min hames layomer lo. One who departs from the mace should not say lech l'shalom, go in peace. Elo, but rather say lech l'shalom, go to peace, not go to peace. I guess not go to peace. Don't say go to peace, but go bishalom. Layomer lo lech l'shalom, go to peace, but go peacefully. I guess because the bracha is for him to easily lech l'shalom, go in a peaceful, lech b'shalom, go in a peaceful way, not to peace, but go in a peaceful way. Hanifta ben achai, but if you live, say goodbye for somebody who's alive, layomer loy, don't tell him lech b'shalom, go peacefully, but ela lech l'shalom, go to peace. Hanifta ben hames, one who says goodbye, from one who died, layomer loy lech l'shalom. Why? He's explaining now. Why should they not say lech l'shalom ela lech b'shalom? What's the reason for that? Shenemar ba'ato tovoy ela v'secha b'shalom. So you say lech b'shalom, you come to your father's, or you pass away b'shalom. But anifta ben achai leyem lech b'shalom ela lech l'shalom. Why is that? Sharei David she'omar la'avshalom, because David said to Avshalom in Shmuel Beis Perik Tezvav, lech b'shalom holach v'nitla. Avshalom went and he was hungry. So don't tell him lech b'shalom. Tell him lech l'shalom. Yisrei she'omar leMoshe. And he said, lech l'shalom, l'shalom holach v'etzliach. To look in the Marsha to see exactly the differences, b'shalom, l'shalom. But the bottom line is, for a living person, okay, you say lech l'shalom. For a person who's dead, you say lech b'shalom. Go in peace. V'amar Rab Levi says, Kol hayotze mibeis hakneses lebeis hamedrash, mibeis hamedrash lebeis hakneses. Anybody who goes from the Beis Medrash, he goes from the shul, he goes to learn to the study hall. Mibeis hamedrash lebeis hakneses, and from the study hall to the shul, zoicha mekabel pnei Shechina, he merits and he gets to greet the face of the Shechina. Shenamar, as the pasuk says, Yelcho mechayil el chayil. If you go from strength to strength, from the shul to the Beis Medrash, from Beis Medrash to the shul, Yeirah Elokim b'tzion, you will get to see Hashem b'tzion. That's the zoicha to reya pnei Shechina. Yelcho mechayil el chayil, Yeirah Amar Abchia. They go from the shul to Beis Knesset, Acharei Yerolekim, Achar Yerolekim Tzin. Then they will see Hashem Tzin is a Kenu Kel Elyu in the Eibush that will grant him. I'm wondering why Rashi changes In the Gemara it says from Beis Knesses to Beis Medrash, and Rashi changes it from the Gemara says Beis Knesses, Beis Medrash, Beis Medrash, Beis Knesses. Rashi said Beis Medrash, Beis Knesses, Beis Knesses, Beis Medrash. Rashi reverses the order. But the pasuk says Achayro lekibetzin yizakenu kelelyen. Kel Elikim, the Kelelyen will grant you to see. Yizkenu Kelelyen. Rabbi Barashu Marav, Selichim Nane Marav, Talmidei Chachamim ein lem menucha, afilu el mabo. The Talmidei Chachamim don't have rest even in the world to come. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Yelchu mechayil el chayil, yerol likim betziyim. They go from strength to strength, even after this world, even in the world to come. To see Elikim B'tzion and seeing Hashem, you keep on going from one level to the other level, higher and higher. Hadran Aloch Perik Ve'elu Megalchim. We concluded the chapter in Megalchim. Uslika Lo Masechta Moed Katan, and we've concluded the tractate of Moed Katan. Hadran Aloch means we will return and we'll go again, because in Torah, you never finish. When you finish, you always sort of say, I finished, but we're going to go back. And this is the end of Masechta Moed Katan. And Be'ezus Hashem, we'll start to learn Masechta Beitzah next time around. In the meantime, everybody have a great day. See everybody in Mitzvah Hashem next week.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you for joining. And slowly but surely we made it, It didn't happen in one day, but at least we...
On Sunday, I was at a event for the Chevra Kadisha in Tampa, and the guy who was giving the presentation used a quote from Moed Katan that we just learned last week.
Which one? What?
The guy used a section from Moed Katan about
we quoted over there. You'll find a lot of in eulogies and things like that, because things we learned in Moed Katan are really applicable for people that pass away, and that's why you'll find a lot of that in eulogies and things like that. Okay. Everybody have a great one. Look forward to seeing everybody next week.
Thank
you
Rabbi.
again, Rabbi. Thank you.